Welcome to the Fischer-Z 50th anniversary audio series, where I've picked my favourite tracks over the years, and I'm going to share the story of those tracks and a lot more.
Thanks, John. And as a reminder, my name is Martin Bull, and I'll be hosting and helping John curate his way through all of his favourite tracks. This episode features the track No Bohemia from the album Swimming In Thunderstorms from 2019 and Cuban Rain from the 2021 album Till the Oceans Overflow. Let's get into it. All right, John, should we start with No Bohemia then?
Yeah.
Making up rhymes, two at a time, clutching the wood. Ticking of clocks, scratchy grey socks, listen and watch. No Bohemia for John, slow Bohemia for John. No Bohemia for Little John. Little John. People in frames, wet were the games, what were their names? Tales of the war, journeys of yore, what are they for? No Bohemia for John, slow Bohemia for John. No Bohemia for Little John. No Bohemia for John, slow Bohemia for John. No Bohemia for Little John. For Little John. Making up rhymes, two at a time, clicking of clocks, scratchy grey socks, people in frames, wet weather games, tales of the war, journeys of yore. No Bohemia, no Bohemia. No Bohemia, no Bohemia for Little John.
The live performances of that have made people weep a lot. It's the most emotionally effective track. I mean, I played it in Hamburg and all over the place because of its connections, which I can describe quite carefully, not all in public.
Okay, go on.
No. The performance of it is just so moving. But live-wise especially, because I've performed it live with Katie Freudenschuss in Hamburg and all over the place. And her piano playing on that was so remarkable. The story of No Bohemia is absolutely remarkable. I was recording in Belgium with Steve Forward engineering, producing. Katie was doing she's a very successful comedian, so she was doing performances. She turned up. She'd been doing a performance somewhere. I think it must have been in the west part of Germany, because she drove and arrived very late at night, like at about sort of midnight, in the studios in Belgium. She arrived there in the car, very tired, in to do this, and she knew I wanted her to do something, but she didn't know what it was. She originally was a a session musician, as a piano player, and as a singer. She's now a comedian and cabaretist because she does basically she was accompanying some famous German comedians on a piano. And she was spotted by agencies who thought she was funnier than the comedian. Do you see what I mean? So that's where her career came from. Her big thing is improvising, because she works with one of the most famous German improviser groups, the intellectual lot. They're called the Hidden Shakespeare Company, where she does. There are three different piano players who play with them, depending on who's available. But basically, in the same way as the improvisers work, there's four actors. They do the improvisers. She improvises the music with them at the same time. But this is relevant because when she came to do the No Bohemia track, I'd done a guitar part for it. I thought, oof, I'd love her to play piano on it. It was quite dramatic because, as I recall, she arrived, I think it was pouring with rain, and her dog always travels with her, and it's all quite hectic. As I recall, there was some kind of an accident. I think she slipped up. There was quite large scale drama, which quite often was in those circumstances between me and her. But she came in, and I said to her, I'd like you to play a piano part that's in the sort of style of a Satie part, because I'm a huge fan of that. And she said, all right. And she just played it. Amazing. And she played it. Let's see. I think I'd done a guide vocal. No, I'd done a vocal. I'd done a good vocal, and I'd done a guitar. And she played to that. But then the piano part was so remarkable that I then basically just scrubbed that vocal and did the vocal to a piano. And because we have a long history, the performing of it together is quite remarkable, and that's what, and we did a Hamburg one about a year ago, but it was still something that and people that know us think it's quite a remarkable thing to do. But that was a particularly wonderful, she turned up, she did it. It was one of those classic things. Steve, because he's such a good engineer, producer, we recorded it very well. The piano was set up, off we go. And No Bohemia did that. But I mean, the No Bohemia story, the song is really, it's exactly, I was reminded of my early childhood at the end of the 50s and into the early 60s with all the things that went with it. I talk about scratchy grey socks, wearing horrible long grey shorts to school uniforms, clicking of clocks. I mean, I can't remember it verbatim, but I spent a lot of time in my childhood with really old relatives because I really liked them. And I learned a lot. I still am, and they keep saying to me I must do a proper recording. I know most about the family history now. I'm the only person left. And that was because my grandpa was already 57 before my dad was born. So a lot of my great aunts, if you like, great aunts and great uncles were like my dad, they were like, instead of being sort of in something like their 60s, they're in their 80s. So I'd often sit in a room with a lot of these folks, sort of Christmases and Easters and things. Most of the kids were playing outside, and most of the ladies were creating, the food and bits and pieces in the kitchen. And there was lots of men and the more chatty, more intellectual ladies who avoided the kitchen like the plague. They were Victorians in the other room, and I was the little kid from when I was 6 or 7. I was intrigued, and I could speak if I had something sensible to say, but I listened mainly. And so that's a terrific era for me, the ticking of clocks. The clocks would tick for like 5 minutes, and then somebody would say something really interesting, and then they'd stop, and then they'd say something else. So, I'd say that I didn't spend much of my, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 with kids at all. I wasn't very interested in them unless I was playing football or something with them. I loved the history of the family. I used to like to listen to them. And I was also the family peacemaker from when I was about, I don't know, 11 or 12, because there was always a feud between my mum's brothers and people. They didn't speak to one another. And when they came to my nan's, if they came separately, they'd leave presents by the gate. And I was absolutely determined. I was the only kid. Not just the kid, I was the only person in the family that talked to all of them. And that was a big influence for me. But certainly I had amazing aunts. Like, I remember when I think of No Bohemia, I think specifically of my Auntie Alice. She was my mum's Auntie Alice. amazing woman, a career woman from the 30s who worked for the civil service and God knows what else. A very dedicated miss. She was Miss Alice Mears, and she was the most extraordinary heavy smoker. I remember she smoked 2 packets of Kensitas because she'd get the, we get all the different coupons. She smoked that, but she was very intolerant of kids normally, but not of me really, because she thought kids were a bit silly until they were at least 15. But I would just listen to her. We never had a piano, but she had a piano. But she used to smoke so much that when she put the piano, all her piano keys, because it was ivory, she'd put cigarettes down on it. If you went on the piano, you'd cut your fingers. But I had quite she was interesting, and she tried. She, yeah, what she wanted to do. She wanted to retire early and go around the world in a boat, and she started off. Yeah, she started off and had to stop because the Second World War started. And then she had another go for it in the 50s, and the Suez Crisis stopped her. But she retired from the civil service early, and she made much. She was a gambler. She was great at gambling, cricket, racing, everything. Very well spoken, but gambling. And she taught me all sorts of things about gambling. Like you gamble on low-level football because it's much more predictable, not the top end. The bottom end, you can usually get the results. You gamble on cricket. My other on the other side of my family, my dad's dad believed that you should always gamble at least 1/10 of your income. And I like gambling in terms of, I don't do it.
I was going to say, have you followed those rules, have you?
I have really, in terms of, I think probably as in approaching career things and business things, definitely. I'll always go for the bigger risk stuff. I mean, people have pensions and schemes, don't they, and things like that. Mine is limited and ridiculous. The financial advisor said, you must be joking. When they, if you've got some small investments which you split between, you split them up between 6 companies, and 5 of them are designated ridiculous. One of them made some money. I mean, basically, I haven't made any money out of it. I think my income stayed about the same. It's done what most people's shares are, but I think 3 went bust, and one of them's made up the rest. So swings and roundabouts. But I'm not very interested. I'm interested in, like, for instance, going horse racing or anything like that, then I'm not interested unless I'm gambling, because there's no point. I like lying games. For instance, poker. I don't play it very much because I just get so heavily into it, because I love that. The idea of being able to keep a straight face through and hold it. I'm quite good at that. But for this, I can't do chess, though, because that makes me nervous because I'm thinking too far ahead. But yeah, gambling's cool. But I do enjoy dog racing, although it's ideologically unsound.
Back to No Bohemia then.
Oh, that's it's beautiful, isn't it? It's a beautiful song.
Yeah, when did you write it then? Is that because it's about people in your youth? Did you?
Yeah.
Was it a recent song that you've written, or is it?
Yeah, oh, definitely. Yeah, no Bohemia was just meant that although the if you like, the Victorians, I talk about the family and different bits and pieces. So there was quite amongst those relatives, my aunts and uncles were the same sort of age as most people's grandparents. So there was an intellectual influence there, not a particularly, they read a lot, but not particularly artistic one. The No Bohemia refers to the fact that, I told you, my Auntie Alice had the piano, but my mum didn't want a piano, which is really weird. She just didn't want one around. And considering me and my dad were both in a very high level choirs, and I was obviously very musical, and my sister was very musical too. We all were. There's a lot of singing, but she didn't want that. And so therefore, when most people went to, I would have probably, if the folks would have been more in that area, I'd have probably gone to art college or film school rather than doing what I did, because I didn't really know that existed, that kind of background. So No Bohemia means that there wasn't the push. I mean, I'd sung in the choir, but there wasn't the push for music or art or film within my family. That's what I mean by No Bohemia for Little John. My storytelling was encouraged by my grandparents, and also the other kids realized, the kids in the family realized I didn't help with anything like gardening or all the things that kids did to help their parents. I thought that was absolutely tedious. I just used to, as I say, when everybody was gardening with my granddad, who was a lovely gentleman in the next door garden, they were all digging and doing stuff. I think I told you I was sitting in the wheelbarrow telling them stories. It was much, much more fun.
Well, so as a young child then, or as an 8, 9, 10-year-old, what attracted you to spending time with older people?
I just thought they were really interesting. I thought they were really interesting. My biggest subject was history, always. That's the only exam I've ever failed in my life was O-level history, because I wrote 25 pages and they couldn't read it. And in those days, it didn't give me. That was my best subject. So I thought, well, sod you then. I mean, if I'd have gone an academic route, God knows, if I'd have done that, I'd have probably done my music still. But I could easily have ended up. As a specialist teacher or lecturer in military and economic history. I love it. I still do, as you probably know. You can see from my political.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely dumbfounded by people's inability to understand what military means now. It's disgusting. It's just ridiculous. But given the fact the world has now gone completely mad, it's not quite so ridiculous because everything's mad, on a political level. And everything, there's no reality, there's no facts and truth, there's no accountability, and there's no stability. And that hope that you might get at changing, but it's going to be difficult because I believe in pendulum politics, which always swings in different directions. But we'll see.
So this was Swimming In Thunderstorms, which is your third album in 3 years, 2016 to 2019. So it's quite I know you're quite prolific anyway, but that seems a particularly prolific period. What was
It was. I mean, from 2016, I was because I did that record, didn't I, with Jamie playing drums, my son-in-law. So
yeah,
we said we'd do that. From then on, I was flying, and also which connected with the other songs that we're going to go to in this episode. It also coincides with my contact and relationship with Katie, who is obviously as another performer and as it's a cabaretist, she's an improviser, but I suppose it's quite an inspiring thing because she's always doing lots of work and I did lots of work. Do you know what I mean? We bounce off one another, I think.
And why did No Bohemia itself, why did that stand out amongst some of the other tracks that were on the album? Some pretty powerful songs on it. So you got Big Wide World.
That was quite. I mean, I think that Bohemia stands out from something like Big Wide World because Big Wide World I worked on, but Bohemia I didn't have to work on at all. It just came out as a tune. I did the tune without even having a guitar part. I basically woke up with the song. There's your answer to that. But what else is on there? I can't remember now.
There's a lot. Yeah, there is. Yes, Stamp It Out.
Yeah.
You've got The Islamic American.
Yeah.
Love Train Drama.
Yeah.
The Heaven Injection.
Yeah.
Half Naked Girl on the Windowsill.
Oh, I love that song as well. I absolutely love that song. But No Bohemia was just the, I don't know, because it was all to do with my whole life. That's why I think it's important. Yeah.
Yeah.
I play Half Naked Girl on the Windowsill a lot, and I played it too. I think I did it for one of the Patreon scheme things. People really like that song.
When the siren sounded, I was vulnerable and small. I lay there naked. Was I about to lose it all? In this wind-lashed city, I was desperate for the truth. Could I put my safety in the hands of someone new? Half-naked girl on the windowsill, she's so romantic. Man looking out through the blinds, she's a romantic. He's got the world on his mind, world on his mind. She's a romantic. As the tension faded, she looked down to the street. I was enchanted. She was oblivious of me. When the heavens opened, it had caused a mighty flood. The spell was broken. I would leave it to the gods. Half-naked girl on the windowsill, she's so romantic.
It's an interesting title.
Yeah. It's quite a descriptive title.
Yeah, does what it says on the tin.
Yes.
It's got films with happy endings.
Yeah.
Wary,
Yeah. Oh, there's
Stolen.
tons of stuff on there. Yeah, there's tons of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, that period of time, I could have done 2 albums probably. But I think my favorite, the two that are closest to my heart would be No Bohemia and Half Naked Girl on the Windowsill. Who's on it? I can't remember who played on that. What was the band then?
So you got yourself, obviously, Sinisa Banovich on drums,
Yeah.
Dave Purdy on bass, Adrian Rhodes on keyboards, and Marion Mengi on guitars.
Amazing. I didn't remember doing that with them at all. No Bohemia is a big part of my musical canon.
It's a fascinating story, actually. I love it. Let's move on then, John, to Cuban Rain or Cuban Rain Falling on Till the Oceans Overflow.
Orange moon falling, it was not my fault. You found it alarming, I couldn't walk the walk. Wound still open, I withhold the salt. Truths were spoken, untruths spoken not. Just one chance to prove this man. Just one chance to prove this man. Cuban rain falling, anxious waiter comes. Gazebo straining, thunder, bass and drums. Safe shelter, pictures of the Pope. Alcohol handle, ice cream float. Just one chance to prove this man. Just one chance to prove this man. I break your heart every single time. I break your heart. Temperature falling, looking for a sign. Darkness liquid, lovers on the line. Fear of flailing, rooted to the ground. Come back, Katie, come back, Mr. Clown. Just one chance to prove this man. Just one chance to prove this man can love. I break your heart every single time. I break your heart every single time. I break your heart. I let you down, girl. I break your heart. I let you down, girl. I break your heart. I let you down, girl. I break your heart.
Okay, well, this is the whole section really. It's all obviously a lot of those, all this bunch of songs. They're connected, very much connected by the interactions between myself and Katie, because what you've got is both of us are in our own right very independent personalities. The whole period of songs that we've been dealing with in this particular section are to do with that interaction. So Cuban Rain's a very interesting song because with Cuban Rain, Cuban Rain was actually written. I wrote it in an evening when I was actually staying down in Katie's family's house which is out in the country in Germany. Basically, it was one of those things where you have it literally was. I was at an Italian restaurant, an absolute deluge. You've never known anything like it. And I have this image of Cuba. I unfortunately didn't go earlier in my lifetime. So now I can't. Because if I go to Cuba, I can't go to America. If it's in your, unless you lose your passport intentionally, which is a naughty thing to do. But I associate the rain, you know what it looks like, tropical rain. And also, I have a favorite Cuban restaurant in New York. And one day I was in that. One of those restaurants where you are outside but undercover and terrible storm comes. It's fantastic. You're sheltered from the rain, but it rushes past you. Anyway, it was like that. And we were out, I think it was, it was outside but covered with a huge canopy. But which in the end, I think it protected us from it, but it was an extremely dramatic storm. And it was also, we were having a very dramatic conversation at the time. And so I was connecting together the rain, the images of Cuba, and the fact that that Katie was very upset, and so she was crying at the same stage. So that's where Cuban Rain comes from. So it's very connected. It's very interesting. When people say, "Do you write? Have you written love songs? Have you written?" I think there's relationship songs, if you see what I mean, because I tend to be more descriptive about most things. Going back once again to, I was the observer as a little kid. When I was at primary school, they questioned the fact I would always stay on the outside. I'd watch what was going on. And the same way as I'd observe the older people, I'd observe the younger people as well. And so I have the ability to be able to stand outside my own situation and write it, which a lot of people feel quite frustrating. When with the mother of my kids, who I'm still very in good contact with, but I'm divorced from, she always said she would work out what was going on in my mind when she listened to the next record.
What a great statement.
It's not very good. Not very good. It doesn't bode very well for me, but that's what she said.
Little insight into your psyche, I think there.
Because there's quite a lot of, I write about, some of the early music was criticized for being musical journalese, but I think it's much brighter. It was an observation of, it still represented people's feelings. Like Red Skies certainly connected with the feelings of loads of people in Europe, especially the Germans. They didn't see it as a very unemotional or distant thing. But for instance, it often gets misinterpreted though, because like, for instance, people were thinking, oh, John was very anti-communist and about the wall. Absolutely not true. And the Berlin was about the wall. No, it wasn't. Berlin was about the bravery of entertainers standing up against Nazism. It was about something totally different. And when I was doing Red Skies Over Paradise, for instance, it was a mythical story, wasn't it? It was about me it was about me finding it quite amusing, standing with my ice cream in the middle of Preston Park in Brighton and wondering if there was a nuclear attack on London, how long it would take to melt my ice cream. So my thoughts are, it's my thoughts. I also can translate reality into an artistic backdrop, and I can translate emotion. I can translate my emotion and I can make faction. It's very rarely fact, and it's very rarely fiction. It's faction. It's between the two. And that, again, you get into trouble because you've got people interpreting your songs like it's facts. Again, they'll say, well, you didn't say that. I said, no, but you can if you're doing something that's art, you use your life, you use your observations, you use anything. Anything comes into it.
So Till the Oceans Overflow was I think was seen as it was pitched as a bit of a follow-up to Red Skies.
Well, no, it's mixed.
And is that right?
Yeah, Swimming in Thunderstorms was the idea of, it was the title related to a political state of affairs. Until the Oceans Overflow, they're all connected in that sense. There's one after it as well, which must have been connected.
Well, Triptych was the...
Triptych was the next one, yeah. But those two things were connected, the idea of Swimming in Thunderstorms and then the oceans were actually overflowing. Yes, they were connected title-wise. Yeah. I'm
intrigued as to why you saw it as a follow-up. How connected is it to Red Skies?
I think it's connected. I think that it was political. So what's on Till the Oceans Overflow then?
So you've got Same Boat.
Yeah.
Brian.
Oh,
a bit of a connection there.
A follow-up of Brian, yeah.
Yeah. Romance Can Last Forever.
Yeah.
Cuban Rain.
Yeah, Romance
Waterside.
kind of connected with 3 Minutes in Durham. But yeah,
Which one? Romance Can Last Forever.
yeah, Romance Can Last Forever was
Ah,
kind of,
okay.
mm,
Right. So that's connected to Going
yeah,
Deaf.
yeah, politically. And
Okay. The Selfish Mirror.
oh, I like that song. That's personal but philosophical.
In what way?
Well, it is. I mean, the selfish mirror is just the idea of it's about noticing that the people that are dying are your own generation, having a careful look at things.
Till the Oceans Overflow.
Can't remember what that's about at all. It must be the title track, so it must be something about it. Can't remember what the words were for that at all.
So I never
Yeah.
fought a war. I never thought I could. They won't take my sons. They'll simply pull the plug.
Oh yeah,
Bullet
very
through my.
connected with Red. Yeah, yeah. It's about the idea of I mean, every other generation. I mean, all my ancestors and relatives have been soldiers, and I haven't been. And I was hoping that my sons wouldn't be either in an ideal world. So yes, that's very Red Skies connected. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Narcissus Took Me Down.
Yes, that's personal and philosophical again.
Big Orange Sun.
Well, that would be Red Skies connected. As much as people think of Big Orange Suns as being, they think of Nagasaki, don't they, and exploding. I think it's to do with that.
Oh Compassion.
Oh, I don't know. I can't remember that at all.
Dystopia's Here.
Oh, I
This is a
like that.
voyage of discovery, John.
I like that.
Um,
Yeah, really. Oh,
and
I haven't heard it. I don't think I've heard it since I made it.
what? Dystopia's Here,
The album.
or the album? Oh wow.
Yeah. I've played songs from it live. I mean, I remember playing. I tend to play the stuff that's quite groovier. So, Wary I played live. Waterside I loved. I thought it's
I
great.
think Same Boat. I think you've done live, have you?
Yeah, and say,
Yeah.
but that's got a great video with it as well. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I tend to do that. It tends to be the ones that are rhythmically exciting to play.
And Dave Purdy back in the
Oh yeah.
back amongst the musicians again,
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
nice to see.
Yes, yeah.
And also the cover was a bit of a nod to Red Skies as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, the background was Berlin, and that was the bloke that wasn't Steve Little, although it looked like Steve Little. The Red Skies cover was a mixture of a redded out Brighton seafront with the bloke from Another Postcard stuck on it and copied. That was what that was.
Did a lot of this get written in lockdown then?
Well, I mean, lockdown didn't make any difference to me at all, whether I was writing or not. I mean, it wouldn't make it. I'm always writing songs.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah,
So it wouldn't have had any influence then, because you started the.
might have done. That's right. The end of 2019. That was just before. That was the one recorded in Holland then.
Yeah, I mean, there's the notes on the album says once the pandemic struck, John decided to amalgamate two sets of songs into one
Oh, that's
project,
right. That's
which
right.
became Till the Oceans Overflow.
Absolutely, yeah. There were two different lots of songs. That's quite right. That's why there's the kind of politically ones and the philosophical, personally ones. That makes sense. Yeah, that's true.
making up rhymes, two at a time, clutching the wood. Ticking of clocks, scratchy grey socks, listen and watch. No Bohemia for John, slow Bohemia for John. No Bohemia for little John. People in frames, wet weather games, what were their names? Tales of the war, journeys of yore, what are they for? No Bohemia for John, no Bohemia for John, no Bohemia for little John. Making up rhymes, two at a time, ticking of clocks, scratchy grey socks, people in frames, wet were the games, tales of the war, journeys of yore. No Bohemia. Thank you. My very, very good friend, Katie Freundschutz.
Thanks, John, for those brilliant stories. The next episode features the Hamburg Beat from the 2024 album Triptych and the track When Love Goes Wrong from Punked in 2025. See you all then.
Thank you for listening to the Fischer-Z 50th anniversary audio series. I hope you enjoyed it. Look out for the next episode. Come on.